we can tie all this back to one factor.
Adam Gase.
Dude, Ryan Tannehill leaves Miami, becomes, like, awesome immediately. Fucking Kenyon Drake leaves Miami, becomes awesome immediately. Devontae Parker gets rid of Adam Gase, gets a $40 million extension. Like, Adam Gase needs to get fired out of a cannon into the sun to never be heard from again, I think is the lesson that we've learned from this year, if nothing else.
You're listening to Let's Talk Fantasy Football, where men of fantasy genius have realized, hey guys, we don't need real football skills to dominate on the fantasy field. Yeah. So slap on your pads and grab your helmet. Shit's about to get real.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the 300th edition of Let's Talk Fantasy Football. I am your host, Nick Schreck. Joining me tonight, guys, for the huge anniversary episode, Vinny Gonzalez, Nick Walsh. Boys, what is up?
Hey, Shrek. This is pretty sweet, man. 300. That's a high number to count to.
Yeah, I was on the phone with my mom right before we got started here, and I was like, yeah, we're doing the 300th episode. And she was like, how many years have you been doing this? I was like probably like 3 or 4 years. And she was like, I think in 2014 you told me this was starting. So am I right in saying this is we're closing down our 6th year of this?
Closing down our 6th year, man. You are spot on.
God, time fucking flies when you're being okay at fantasy.
And Walsh, if last week had gone differently for you, your statement and opener there would be very different.
Oh yeah, 100%. I would be helicoptering my dick in front of my computer camera, like, screaming all sorts of things. But alas, things went not great. But,
which I must say is a loss for the entire fantasy football community and world, because that video would have been viral and gold for both us and the community.
I mean, I would hope the video would not get released, but at least you would get audio of, like, my dick, like the wind from my dick, hopefully, like swinging very softly by the microphone or whatever. And
that's the opener.
It sounds like a fan, but not really that strong. It's like, yeah, that's my dick.
Jesus Christ. That about sums up 300 episodes, guys. So if you haven't listened to the previous 299 for some reason and are choosing championship week to finally listen in, that's all you need to know about Let's Talk Fantasy Football. Dix and that Walsh, despite what he may have just said in the opener, is the smartest fantasy football guy we've got. And guys, we're going to deviate from the normal script. We typically talk about previewing the individual games, looking at matchups. It's championship week, right? So people in semifinals or consolation matches, championship matches, you're here because of whatever got you here, whether it was a good schedule or because you're actually good at fantasy football. But our advice at this point, a game-by-game breakdown is a waste of everybody's time. So let's just talk about some cool shit, some weak shit, and just talk about the year as a whole. I think that's the best way to go.
Fuck yeah, baby.
All right, let's kick it off. And important to note, guys, on Saturday there are 3 games this week. You get the Texans at the Buccaneers at 1 o'clock, the Bills at the Patriots at 4:30, and the Rams and 49ers at 8:15 on Saturday night. So important for those of you that are setting lineups. Don't be a fool. Check your lineups, check injury stuff as you go into Saturday. But with that housekeeping shit out of the way, guys, where do you want to kick things off?
I just want to say those are some pretty fucking sweet games. Like those are like going to matter a lot for fantasy. Yes. And like, I'm also really excited for just that day of watching football. Like that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to make a dickload of crazy parlays that probably won't hit, but it's going to be across all 3 of those games. I'm just going to be like, please make me happy.
just hammering the over on the player prop for John Brown receiving yards, despite like the fact that he's definitely going to hit the under against the Patriots.
Yeah, dude, Gilmore's going to lock him down. He's going to not break 30 yards, and I'm going to bet that he's going to get 45.
We wouldn't want it any other way, Vinny. We wouldn't want it any other way.
It's just how it's going.
But yeah, Walsh, I agree. Definitely a great slate of games for Saturday to kind of kick us off here into championship week. But guys, just be mindful.
Do you guys think Buffalo has a shot against New England?
100%.
Yeah, I think the Patriots look. And I said it, Tom Brady after the Chiefs game there. Tom Brady looks actually, I think, beatable. I think that's just age or whatever. The Patriots look beatable, and they have been beatable. So I think the Bills can do it.
Yeah, Bengals were hanging with them for a half. That was pretty cool.
Which is garbage.
Yeah, well, that's what I base everything on. How well do they play the Bengals in the first half of games? So it speaks volumes of how the Patriots are underperforming.
The Bengals were winning that game for like more than 10 minutes of that game, which is like more than I would have expected, like going into it. So
I'm saying, man, Patriots aren't good.
I just want Josh Allen, I was going to say literally, but it's not. It's figuratively, like cutting off the head of like the king, basically, in this matchup. Just being like, "This is my AFC East now, bitch."
I wish they can't win the AFC East, right? They would have to win now, and then the Patriots lose next week, and then the Bills would have to win.
I do not know all the specifics.
That would be so cool.
My fantasy brain like refuses to learn the math behind like divisional and playoff like things like this, so I just kind of look at stuff and assume things basically.
Yeah, if you tell me it's good, I'm just gonna believe you. That's pretty much where I stand on that as well. But would be sweet. Would be sweet to see the Patriots lose.
Yeah.
All right. I guess we do have a little bit of an outline together. So let's start with the Vikings backfield. Walsh, I'm going to throw it to you because you're a Dalvin Cook owner, and you've experienced that. Are you own Dalvin Cook, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I own fucking Dalvin Cook. Yeah, it's a tough situation because you've got Cook who left in what seemed to be a lot of pain in this past game.
Yep.
After getting about 5 points in fantasy. Not coming back into the game. And then you had Madison who didn't play this past week, but like he might play. And then you've got Mike Boone who came in and got 2 walk-in untouched touchdowns after Dalvin Cook got hurt. And if you don't think that I was tilting my ass off after those happened, then you're not aware of who I am and the way I act about things. But yeah, this is like a tough situation. I think the move here is like if you own Dalvin Cook and like you probably had Madison, I would hope, by this point. But then, like, the Mike Boone thing just throws a huge wrench into it. So see if you can get him on waivers. I don't know. Like, it's really just, like, a wild situation. Like, if Dalvin Cook plays, would you either – like, I guess you have to play him, right? But, like, are you at all confident?
No. Zero confidence.
Yeah, not really. I mean, the matchup against the Packers helps a lot. But, yeah, you have no confidence in, like, his health there. That's a terrible spot.
I mean, it's the second game of the season where he's left like clutching his shoulder, and the second game, I think, in like the past 3. So,
and also the second time he said, I could have kept playing, but like I didn't. So it's like, well, what the fuck do you want me to do with that, man?
Super encouraging, sir. Good advice.
Yeah. The whole Madison thing too, like in leagues where I have Dalvin, I held Madison the entire year and then he gets hurt and like, he's not even actually like relevant. It's like, fuck, well then what did I do that for? But, yeah, it's a difficult situation, and hopefully you're not really dealing with it too much. But
yeah, so, sucks to be a Dalvin Cook. I don't know who tweeted it out. I don't know if it was Schefter or somebody else. They had at least said the other day they would be surprised if Dalvin Cook played again in the regular season. So again, I don't remember who that tweet came from, but obviously keep your eye on it if you're a Dalvin Cook owner, or if you're a Madison owner, or even going to be a Boone owner. Obviously relevant for a lot of guys. Where do you guys want to go next? Walsh.
Should we talk? You know what? Let's skip around. Let's talk about fucking Will Grier, dude, because Will Grier's going to be the starter in Carolina.
No fear, baby.
Yeah, no fear. Just Will Grier. This is like exciting from like a real football standpoint for me because I want to see what this guy's made of. Like I really, really liked him in terms of the college career and that sort of thing. I thought he had like a ton of arm talent and that sort of thing. So I'm very excited to see what he does. We're talking about him too. I feel like we should talk about McCaffrey a little bit because I feel like some people might be worried about McCaffrey in that like they don't have anything to play for. And, now they're putting in a rookie quarterback. Like, can you really count on McCaffrey? I am here to say that I think you can. Because he is 388 yards away from Chris Johnson's single-season yards from scrimmage record. And I think the Panthers will want to get him that. And he's also like, I think like 180 yards. I could be wrong on the exact number here, but he's like a reasonable distance away from getting an 1,000-yard rushing, 1,000-yard receiving season. And I think they want to get him that too. So I don't know. How do you guys feel about those two things, Greer and then McCaffrey, like his prospects going forward?
I'm excited, dude. I'm ready for it. And it's a great matchup too. It is an away game, but they do get like the Colts, who just got eliminated and embarrassed from the Drew Brees. So they might get another record set on them. Hopefully McCaffrey can just get it done in 1 week when you're like, get that record 300 plus and keep crushing. But who the fuck knows? Yeah, I'm definitely not worried about him. I do want to see how he looks in that offense, because it's not like they don't have weapons. It's just been, Kyle Allen hasn't been able to get the ball to them. So I'm definitely ready to see what that's all about. And it's huge for the Panthers, because you don't know what's happening with Cam next year either.
Yeah. One thing with Greer is he can chuck the ball deep, and Kyle Allen never was able to do that. So, like, part of me is, like, mildly horny again for Curtis Samuel, but that's me being stupid.
You've had your heart broken one too many times, Walsh. You know better.
I don't.
I can already see the daily stacks being made. Will Greer check. Samuel check.
No, dude, the two wide receivers that like I'm looking at on DraftKings and just like salivating over because I'm fucking stupid are John Ross and Curtis Samuel.
Oh my God.
You are a fucking idiot. You are so fucking stupid. Yeah, I mean, I echo Vinny's sentiments there, Walsh. I'm not worried about McCaffrey. He's going to be fine. And as far as Greer's concerned, I think I was excited way back when we thought he was going to get the actual start weeks ago, when you initially threw out the making the No Fear Will Greer T-shirt idea. Or Fear the Greer. I might have been one of the two. But either way, great shirts. That's patented and trademarked, by the way, for those listening. So yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be fun to see what happens. But no concern. I am not gonna be investing in the Panthers pass catchers there, but that's all right, Walsh.
What can you do?
What can you do? Not too much. Another backfield, Walsh, that has been smacked around, and you are also no stranger here. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and you're a Jameis Winston guy. It seems like Godwin is not going to play this week. Mike Evans is not going to go. Not great for fantasy owners or for the Bucs.
Yeah, I mean, they have a decent matchup against Houston, right? So
yep.
My question for you guys is if you rode Jameis into your final, because, like, I'm sure there are people out there who started Jameis this past week
yep.
and won because
yep.
Jameis went fucking off. Like, do you trust him against Houston even without Evans and Godwin? Or are you just, like, continuing to ride the Jameis train?
Yeah, man, I'll ride that. Absolutely. It's not this is going to sound dumb, but like this almost makes Jameis like more dangerous. Like he's just going to keep slinging no matter what. Like they're probably going to get down in this game, and it's going to be the alternate Jameis instead of pounding on the Lions. You got him like playing from behind and making insane throws to just Perryman and whoever else the fuck they have. And the tight ends will have to step up, and they're red zone threats in themselves too. So I'm really not worried about Jameis at all.
Yeah, I'm with Vinny. I think if you rode him there after what was probably, like you said, because of a Jameis win, again, in the matchup where he's going to have to sling the pig, fucking put him in there and roll the dice. I don't have a problem with it at all.
Yeah, I like that as well. I think it's going to be interesting. Like with that being established, and you guys are both on Perryman, I would guess too, and like potentially Howard and Braid, huh? Yeah,
definitely. I think Howard's going to get involved a lot. I think Braid probably sneaks in a touchdown, and I'm trying to figure out why this over-under is only 50 for that game. I'm definitely betting that like right this second.
Yeah, that could be like a really hot shootout.
Absolutely.
I guess the what is it? Scotty Miller got hurt this past week too. So depending on his status, like we could have Justin Watson doing things. I mean, obviously not if you're in like a championship game, you're not playing Justin Watson, but just like for the sake of argument, like if this was a regular week and like you're trying to find a wide receiver on the waiver wire, would he be a guy for you guys?
Just keep giving away your DFS strategy to us, Walsh. Just keep dropping those names.
I'm going to win $1 million with John Ross, Curtis Samuel, and Justin Watson.
You're going to fucking hear first.
I want a little bit of that. Not a lot, just a little bit since I had to listen to this.
I mean, you're already going to win big with betting the over, Vinny. So you're fine here.
Yeah,
that's true.
Put it all on the over.
My new thing, it's really sick. It's same game parlays, and it's just I pick a bunch of touchdown scorers and just parlay it together. And I'm like, if they score 6 touchdowns and it's all these guys, like I will make $50,000 off of my $25 bet. So I'm just like, yes. So I will definitely be doing that in this game.
Yeah, just a touchdown for Brate and Howard and Watson and Perryman. And
Yep. Dare Ogunawale. That'll be the big one. That'll be like plus 600. Oof.
Oh, my God, yeah.
That'll set it over the top.
That game for Perryman this past week, like I feel like a lot of like he is still a good start this week, like because they don't have anyone else. But like he did that on 6 targets, which is really crazy. You know, he only got 5 catches and turned it into that. Like, I don't know, like if I'm in something that like if I'm in a fucking consolation bracket or whatever, like who cares? Roll out Perryman just because it's like fucking fun. But if I'm like in a championship game and like Godwin went down and maybe like I'm trying to pick up Perryman, I think I'm a little cautious. Does that like make sense? I feel like his floor is just egregiously low because we forget after 1 week, Brashad Perryman's a bad football player. Like he's not good.
Oh yeah, no, that's for sure. And I think, you know, it's warranted to note that, but I don't know. You have to piss on everyone's fun, Walsh. You can just let it roll.
I'm trying to not make the same mistakes that I made starting Patrick Laird this past week, which was seeing 1 week's usage and being like, fuck yeah, baby, fire it up. You know, like
that was egregious in its own right, but we could talk about that in a sec. That was not a good play, dude.
It was not a good play, but it is not as bad as you think it was either.
No, it was, dude. There has been zero inclination that the Dolphins had any remnant of a fucking rushing attack whatsoever. Oh, with Kenyon Drake, with Balaj, Ryan Fitzpatrick is their leading rusher.
All you needed was pass catches, and he dropped 2 of them and then got benched because of it. That is, how am I supposed to predict 2 drops in a benching?
You're supposed to predict that they have no run game whatsoever. I don't know. It was
whatever.
A horrible play.
He's not arguing the run game. You're not even listening to him.
I don't think it was as bad as it was a bad play, and I will admit that. I have done a lot of soul searching on Patrick Laird this past week, but
I'm picturing you smoking a cigarette, looking at the Golden Gate Bridge, just like, oh man, what the fuck have I done?
You're not far off from the truth. Anyway, I feel like that covers the Bucks pretty well, right?
Patrick Laird, yeah, we got that.
Yeah, we nailed it.
Yeah, I think the only other good thing to say is that Perryman went off on Tyler's bench and not against me.
That's true.
I talked to a lot of people that played Perryman and won because of it. I was like, you have a fucking sack, man. That was a real heady play.
I was going to say, I know a lot of people who picked him up but did not play him this past week.
Yep.
And one of the guys, the guy that I'm playing, one of the guys that I'm playing in the championship of one of my leagues, he did not play Perryman this past week, and he's like way more results oriented than you should be, you know? So like today he was talking to me and he's like, I can't believe I benched Perryman this past week, but I'm totally playing him this week. I was like, yeah, you play him against me, you fucking idiot. You know? Again, not that it's a bad play, but he was just like, yeah, I need to play. Like, he's a must play this week. I'm like, oh, yeah, Rashad Perryman's a must play for you, huh?
That's a classic point chaser.
Yeah, exactly.
1 week behind the 8 ball every time.
Yep.
Not great. Not a great way to win fantasy football, but here we are. Vinny, where do you want to go here?
Man, I don't know. Let's talk about the Raiders, Walsh. I know that sucks, but
yeah, they lost their last game in Oakland on a second half collapse against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who you so kindly pointed out won their first game on the West Coast in 15 years. Raiders fans refused to leave the stadium and threw trash on the field. You know, from a fantasy perspective, it seems like the only relevant person these days is Waller. But in general, just they're a terrible team and they should be ashamed of themselves.
I think they have pieces, though. Like, if you're looking forward and from a football aspect, I think they have like a decent team set up.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong there. I think the defense is and has been bad for like years, and they don't seem to have anyone who knows how to address that even a little bit. But
was it Abraham missed the whole season?
Yeah, or Jonathan Abrams, you mean?
Abrams, my bad. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he missed the whole season, but like, one hard-hitting safety isn't going to like change the fact that this defense can't stop anyone. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I am of the opinion that Carr needs to go, but I don't think that's going to happen. So
you think they're just going to keep fucking rolling with him?
I mean, it seems like it, right? I don't know. I feel like we're stuck in QB purgatory, and if anyone knows that, Vinny, it's you.
What are you talking about, dude? We're going to get Joe Burrow in a couple months.
Yeah, but this past decade, you've been stuck with Andy Dalton.
But I like Andy Dalton.
Yes, but he's a quarterback. He's a quarterback not good enough to win you a Super Bowl unless you have an elite team around him.
Oh, is this like most people's opinions? I've never heard this before.
God, I hate you.
No, it's been, I don't know. I feel like Carr's almost on like that same level. Like he'll do a bunch of cool stuff just enough to get you hoping and wishing that he could be a franchise quarterback, but might hang around for a little longer than you need him to.
That's what I'm saying. We're in QB purgatory. Yeah.
I was just fucking around.
He's good enough to be an NFL starter, and he's not good enough to win you a championship unless you either get on a really hot streak or have a great defense.
Yeah, 100%.
Which we've done the hot streak thing, but the defense is not there.
Not so much.
Yeah, and that's the toughest spot to get out of. You wish they could just bomb and, get a high pick like, I don't know, a certain prestigious organization that's currently achieving that right now.
Should we talk about the Bengals and this week for them then?
Yeah, against Miami.
Yeah, man. Like if you manage to make the fantasy championship and you have either Joe Mixon or Tyler Boyd, like you should be fucking psyched.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, after the bye week, Mixon has turned it the fuck on. He is like
incredible.
Absolutely crushing over 100 yards in most of those games after the bye. And he's close again to another 1,000-yard season.
That is so wild.
He is fucking good, man.
It felt like the first 6 weeks of the season, he had like 30 total yards on the ground.
You're correct in that. He was not good. The Bengals line was atrocious, and they were on a really bad streak there. Then they throw in Finley for a couple experiment weeks, and nothing was really working for him. And now all of a sudden, out of nowhere, offensive line is playing well, and they're hanging with teams that maybe they shouldn't. And they won a game, which was sweet. But yeah, turn up your Bengals for this week. That just being two of them, I'm sure. I don't know. I'm going to say it one last time. Andy Dalton's a streamer.
Don't disagree.
Yeah. Smash play.
I might game stack this game on like DraftKings.
It's not even like this could be another shootout too. Like Miami's not going to.
I'm starting Fitz in a lot of leagues.
It's fun. You could play both the defenses. You can play both quarterbacks. You can play. I'm not going to say both running backs. You cannot play Patrick Laird, even though it's the best match. I hope he goes off. Actually, never mind. But Parker's going to shred. It's going to be a fun game.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that one. But I want the Bengals to lose because if they lose, then they lock up the first pick, which is
Joe Burrow's.
No, exactly. Like that's the goal of the season since, they went like 0-8 and I was just like, all right, you know what? I'm going to flip that switch. We're done.
I think Fitzpatrick can do that. Like I think Fitzpatrick can make that happen. He's got enough like grit and moxie and playing like he doesn't give a fuck to beat the Bengals this week.
Yeah, and it would definitely help out the Dolphins if they lost too because they're like, are they next closest? No, the Giants still. Nope, they all have 3 wins. But it definitely would help if they actually did lose.
Yeah, just Giants. Yeah, Giants and Redskins are fighting over that number 2 pick. So just lose, but a lot of fantasy points to come. And fucking your Bengals, dude. What a surprise! Like you said with Joe Mixon, I feel like we were talking about just pretty much being fucking done with him. So yeah. He was trash, and now he's fucking making it happen.
He was a guy that when I talk to people about their leagues, like definitely got passed around, traded, and people just like get this dude off my team.
Yep.
And if you stuck with him, props to you. If you traded for him, good looks as well. But Mixon's finally doing it.
I'm impressed. Another backfield, guys. I do want to talk about Chargers, and he's a little bit further down, but Austin Eckler has been an absolute godsend for all fantasy owners, myself included. I own him, I think, pretty much everywhere. A guy I was afraid I overpaid on early in some drafts has been – I don't even know what his PPR rank on his own is in front of me, but despite Melvin Gordon coming back, has been an absolute stud.
Melvin Gordon got benched this week for fumbling.
Yeah,
he fumbled twice.
Yeah, so he's having a rough go, man. Holding out and then really playing poorly. So,
and I mean, they play the
worried.
Raiders this week, so like, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Gordon gets another shot at it. But I think you start Eckler even in that case, like 100% of the time.
Eckler is a safe play and has the higher ceiling than Melvin Gordon. I feel like that's been the case almost all season.
Yeah, no, Eckler's totally had the ceiling. There's no question. He's seen quite a few targets down there in the red zone. And again, all Melvin Gordon is one stupid play away from being fucking benched again, which is totally possible because he's fucking Melvin Gordon. So we will see.
This is looking forward a lot, but I would assume based on the holdout and everything else, Melvin Gordon is not going to be a Charger next year, right? Can we agree?
Yeah, definitely not. He'll go somewhere else.
Is Austin Eckler a first-round pick next year? Because I think he might be top half of the first round.
I think you're right, but I would be very hesitant to draft him.
I mean,
I would be worried about staying healthy, I think. But that's, besides the fact he's played great, but I would just be a little worried first-round pick for that.
I mean, when Gordon was gone, he was like
a monster.
He was an absolute baller.
I mean, he's number 6 in our league right now in scoring for running backs,
and that's with Gordon there for half a season.
With Gordon, and that's Derrick Henry at 5, Zeke at 4, Aaron Jones at 3, Cook at 2, and McCaffrey at 1.
And for reference too, we're half PPR. I wouldn't be surprised if in PPR he's ahead of Henry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
He's only 6.5 points behind him in our scoring. So
definitely over.
Yeah, 100% then.
8 points behind Aaron Jones, 7 points behind Zeke. He's got a bigger jump to Cook and McCaffrey, obviously, but I mean, he couldn't realistically, with one more touchdown, be the number 3 running back.
If that backfield's him and Justin Jackson next year, he's like a top 5 pick, I feel like.
Yeah, I was just thinking maybe they would draft somebody, but I forgot they had Justin Jackson, who's definitely just power back, will not make a threat to any sort of pass catching ability of Eckler. So
yeah,
starting to like it a little more, but I would definitely still be worried about wear and tear because I think this is the most touches he's seen in an entire season before. So
yeah, 100% is.
That's probably my only concern, and that's a hard thing to shit on and a hard thing to base picks off of because it's very unpredictable. But that's really my only concern there.
Yeah, I mean, he's done so – it's so much through the passing game, right? I mean, his attempts, when you look at it over the past since week 9, he's only been over 10 attempts one time, and that was in week 9 against the Packers with 12. Everything else is under. I mean, and the receiving game has kind of been where, he's booned as well. I agree with you, Walsh. I think he's in the top half there, which is crazy to say. Again, after where he went this year and everything else, but with Melvin Gordon gone and that kind of production, Phillip Rivers is going to continue to look for him and do his shit there.
What if Phillip Rivers isn't there?
That's a good question.
That is a good question
because it's possible that he might not be there.
Then it would be if they rock Tyrod. He wasn't so great at check down, so
bring back Geno Smith.
Ooh, Captain check down.
Yikes.
Yeah, I don't know there's going to be a lot of teams. There's going to be so much change this season, during the off season, man.
Yeah.
So many quarterbacks got hurt. So many guys are leaving their teams that they've been on forever, it would seem.
I think Phillip stays.
Nuts.
You think he's there another year?
I think he's there another year.
He's kind of bad.
I don't disagree. I don't know what their viable option is.
Yeah, because they're not bad enough to really draft a top dude. And
they have Tyrod Taylor.
Like I said, I don't know what their viable.
What does that do for you though? I
don't know. I like Tyrod.
Yeah, but what is Tyrod Taylor in 2019 like? What they should do is sign Fitzpatrick. Is what they should do.
Okay.
Win us 5 games.
Yeah. Ryan Fitzpatrick has to start a game in the NFL every year until we all die. That's how the world works.
He's got to play for every fucking team.
Yeah.
Then he can finally stop. He just turns into dust.
Yeah, I think the Chargers have to go figure it out. I don't know, what life is going to look like after Phillip Rivers, whether it's to go draft somebody or move around in the draft a little bit. But I think Phil probably has at least one more year with the Chargers while they figure it out. I don't think it's Tyrod, and unfortunately, I don't think it's Geno Smith either.
That sucks.
Yeah, I know that would hurt you.
Yeah, what can you do?
Cut you deep. And I think I've spent more time talking about the Chargers tonight than I have all year. Because I hate Phillip Rivers' guts, but I do think he gets at least one more year in the AFC West. All right, what else you guys got? I mean, I'm trying to save the year review here. We're gonna save for after the break. You guys have anything else you want to hit on this side?
Should we talk about the Eagles a little bit and their backfield?
I was gonna say how they're bad. I was just gonna say how they're bad.
Yeah, they fucking suck, but like they had a great fantasy week. And then, do you guys buy like the Boston Scott performance at all?
No.
Nah. Yeah.
That was a product of like playing against Washington.
Well, he did have I don't know, because he did have a good game against the Giants too. But those are 2 of the better matchups you can have this year.
Yeah. Yeah, you just said the Giants is one of the better matchups you can have. I wonder why I played Patrick Laird against them.
That is a mistake, Walsh. It's Patrick Laird, dude.
You could keep seeking redemption, but it's never going to come from Vinny. He's never going to give you what you want.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't think that was a good play. What is wrong with you, dude?
I just want you to admit it was a better play than you initially said it was. That's all. Anyway, yeah, we don't really need to talk about Boston Scott if we don't want to. Miles Sanders, though, he like went nut. So I don't know the status of Jordan Howard really coming back. I know like there was a chance he was going to play this past week.
Yep.
Leading up to it. Like if he comes back, are we still confident that Miles Sanders is like a dude?
I think it'd be hard for the Eagles to not treat him like a dude because he's been the best thing they have going.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think they'd be stupid to try and take him off the field for, more than they currently, have him on there. I think the role would probably be get him in for the Boston Scott role, which I don't know if you guys saw this too, but the Eagles, like Carson Wentz attempted 43 passes this past week and 11 of those targets were to wide receivers.
Wow.
Yeah, they don't have anybody.
9 of them were to Greg Ward. 2 of them were to J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, which, holy shit, how invisible is that guy?
He's bad, dude. He is really –
He has to be, right?
I think so. I mean, I don't know. I really don't because they don't throw to him, and he's just I'll watch it with Christopher, who's a massive Eagles fan. He's just like, that dude fucking sucks. So.
He's like, everyone was hyping him up before this year. Like, yeah, this guy's good. He's like a big-bodied receiver who can go up and get the ball and stuff. And it's like, motherfucker, like, is the only wide receiver on the team besides converted college quarterback Greg Ward.
Who had a good game.
Yeah, was like very, very good. He gets 2 targets, no catches. Like, that's what we're getting out of this guy who's supposed to be good? I don't know.
And it was on a year where everybody went down. So if there was a time to step up, it would be, I don't know, all year, and he did nothing.
Yeah. Like, imagine if you had, like, fucking I think A.J. Brown was drafted after J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Like, imagine if you had Carson Wentz throwing the ball to A.J. Brown. Don't take that as gospel. It might not be true. But imagine if you had Carson Wentz throwing the ball to A.J. fucking Brown with no one else as, like, a viable target. Jeez, dude.
Yeah. I don't know. Fuck the Eagles. That's basically what I have to say. Because Chase is an Eagles fan. And for those of you that don't know, it's me and Chase this week. Chase, fuck you. I know you're not going to listen to this, so it doesn't matter.
I just pictured him listening to it in the dark while smoking a cigar.
It's definitely possible.
I'm fucking listening.
This past week, he texted me and was like, "I've been drinking since Monday." I was like, "You own your own like cheesesteak shop now. That's like you can do that, I guess, if you want to." Like
that's all he said.
Yeah. Well, he was just like, "Fuck you. This matchup is so big. I've been drinking since Monday because I'm stressed about it." I was like, "Whoa, okay. I guess when you own your own business, you can just do that." But whatever.
Man, he won. Maybe I should get drunk more.
Definitely.
That's the problem.
Yeah. I should start on Mondays.
Has anyone talked to Joe? Should we fill him in? What's going on here?
He might be dead.
He might be dead. He'll be dead when the package arrives at his door with a denim surprise.
Did you send it?
No, I just asked him for his address, and then
did he answer you?
Yeah, and then didn't send it. So I'm just gonna leave it at it'll come. Just he anticipated it, but it's not there. It'll come. Give him a little time. It's It is what it is, Joe.
I was actually thinking the other day, we should retire that one, and then Joe has to get a new one, and we'll do the duster that we've always dreamed of.
A new league bitch jacket. For those of you guys who don't know, we have a denim jacket, the league bitch jacket, the person who comes in last. I don't know if we've said all this before, whatever. That would be interesting.
I mean, there's like no room on that thing.
It's tight.
Yeah.
You're right.
We'll have to consider it. We'll put it up to a vote.
Yeah.
All right.
Before we go to the year in review stuff, are there any games in particular that you guys are like really jonesing for this weekend?
I mean, I was really horned up for the ones we talked about with the Bengals-Dolphins game and the Texans-Bucks, but let me see what else we got.
New Orleans, Tennessee is kind of really interesting to me.
Saints D, man. I'm a little worried.
Yeah, they're like not that spectacular.
That's gonna be a toss-up, man. I don't know what the fuck I would do.
I mean, dude,
Titans are home.
New Orleans on the road, but the New Orleans is only a 1-point favorite right now. Which, like, if you had told me that like 5 weeks ago that was going to be the case, I would have told you to fuck yourself. So.
That scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, I mean that's a super interesting one. I think that'll be very fun. Green Bay, Minnesota, obviously, as the Monday night game is a big one.
Yep.
And then Dallas, Philadelphia, I'm like morbidly intrigued in.
Yeah, as a masochist, maybe I'll watch that game. Well, so let me ask you for the Ravens, are you scared of like Lamar getting sit down this week?
Not this week, I don't think.
Like if they're up big at half or something, you don't think he's going to lose out?
Well, I mean, he's played 3/4 of games a lot this season, and like he's been sat down because he's had a great game. Like, true. I don't think you worry about that at all. I think you play him. Obviously you're not going to fucking sit Lamar, but
you're not getting cute, but expectation wise,
like expectation wise, I think they don't sit him before the third quarter, no matter how big they're winning, and like that's plenty. This is like. I think Baltimore's going to come into this game because they got run off the field in Baltimore by Cleveland earlier this season. I think they're going to show up trying to make a fucking statement in this game. So, like, I am very, very confident in Baltimore and Lamar to really crush this week.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Like you said, Walsh, I don't think he gets sat when he puts up points. So even if he gives you fucking 35 points and gets sat, it doesn't matter. And quite frankly, you can't sit him anyway. You know, it's the same thing that people did it with Mark Andrews when they were worried about the injury on Thursday night last week and all the other fucking nonsense, that we had touched on briefly. Roll them out. Don't get fucking cute, guys. And you know it. We're not here to go game by game, obviously, for championship week, but just keep doing what's been getting you here. And if it's been fucking rolling some stupid people, then just keep fucking doing it.
Yeah, and we should say just if you have specific questions, like ask us by all means. Please ask us.
Send them in, and send them in and give us time, especially if it's something that's going to be a little more involved or a little more in depth, guys. Don't give them to us at 12:30, or 12:45, where we're setting DFS lineups and we got our own lineups we're checking and getting ready. Particularly in a week where it all matters, right? I've gotten a couple emails where, they come in too late, and I feel bad, but that's the nature of the beast. We hope you guys are all in the championships, but we know, unfortunately, not the case. But, guys, let's take a quick break, and then we're going to come back to the year in review.
Have you thought about trying sports betting but aren't sure how it'll go? Our friends at FanDuel are giving away a $50 sign-up bonus at letstalkfantasyfootball.com/FanDuel-sportsbook.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the year in review, episode 300. Guys, we're having a blast. Having the freedom to just kind of rock and roll is a lot of fun. Wouldn't want to spend episode 300 any other way, guys. And let's take a chance and let's look back a little bit at some of the good, some of the bad, and some of the really shitty stuff from 2019. Obviously been an up and down year. I have been blessed by the schedule, as I'll say again, because I'm not naive about the fact of I've gotten where I've gotten for what reason. But tight end sucks, I think, is the biggest highlight I'll start off year in review with. For the most part, you might as well spin the wheel. I mean, Hoop Daddy was good. Kittle was banged up a bunch. Hoop Daddy was obviously hurt as well. Travis Kelce was not as hot as we expected him to be. He kind of got there. Tight end should just be eliminated from fantasy football.
I was thinking about bringing that up in our league and just saying we add another flex, because the best person at that position right now, Travis Kelce, in our league has 184 points. That doesn't touch anywhere else near the top threshold of any other position. And it's just like there's such a drop-off. Like Tyler Higbee played the last couple 3 games pretty well, and that's because Gerald Everett's been hurt, and he's already tight end 10. Like, what kind of fucking position allows a 3-game stretch where that can happen and you're already top 10?
Tyler Higbee over that stretch, I think the only people that have more targets than him are Christian McCaffrey, Allen Robinson, and 2 other people. It's insane.
Which is also ridiculous. I
think one of those other people too is Robert Woods, weirdly, but on the same team. But anyway,
he's the number 1. But yeah, I don't know. I hate that position, and I hate the drop off. It's so much worse than any other position. I love the guys that play the position, but it's rough for fantasy.
Yeah, for me, it's felt like I haven't felt the sting of that, and that's literally because I drafted Kittle everywhere. And where I didn't draft Kittle, I think I drafted Waller very late. So
well, even me, I have Waller and Hooper, and I still hate the whole thing. I'm if this was a flex spot, I don't know if I would play these guys with confidence any week. They're doing okay, but
yeah, I roll in with confidence because it is the tight end spot. If it became a flex, obviously a whole nother conversation, but Hoop Daddy for me, was really just, it's the luck of the draw, right? I grabbed him off the wire, and historically, I think if I look at my teams from the past 9 seasons before, I don't think I've ever owned a tight end consistently that actually performed. I've owned a lot of shitty ones like Eric Ebron, who has not performed, and kept him in my lineups for longer than I should, but Hoop Daddy's really been the only consistent tight end I think I've really owned over a 10-year span, and that's crazy.
I can't believe he didn't say thank you to me, because I dropped him. I dropped him week 1 to pick up Waller.
I'm sorry. Did you want me to say thank you?
Yeah, man. Fucking pay gratitude.
You know what? Thank you, Vinny. Bless up. Maybe it'll bring me goodwill this week.
You see, Walsh? Now just apologize for Patrick Laird, and I can get off this fucking podcast.
Fuck you. Fuck.
This is all I wanted was a thank you and an apology.
Eat my balls. That's the thing, though. I think the lesson here isn't necessarily tight end is completely worthless. I think the lesson might be that you should pay up for tight end. Because, despite the fact that Kelce is not doing what he did last year, if you have Kelce, you are very happy with the way that the tight end position has gone for you. He might not have the blow-up games that he was having last year. Same thing with Kittle. Of course, there are down weeks. Ertz started the season very down, but he has paid off over the last probably 6-week stretch. I think the lesson – Waller, too. Outside of when Hunter Renfrow was fucking running around being a bitch, Waller's been good. So – I think the lesson here might not be that tight end is completely worthless. I feel like it's just that if you think that a tight end is going to be good, you should be willing to pay up for them.
Well, it's basically like QB. You know the top 3, and then the rest, there's a big bunch in the middle. And then if you don't snag the top 3, you're probably waiting. because guys like Hooper, guys like Darren Waller wasn't even drafted. Hooper was way late.
Yep.
Your guys were Kelsey, Ertz, and Kittle. And
Yeah.
they were, well, if Kittle didn't get hurt, he's probably top 3.
Yes.
Kelsey and Ertz 1 and 2. So,
And in fairness to
that's
Kittle,
probably
when he was down, Ross Dwelly was being Boss Dwelly. So
10 yards, 2 touchdowns.
yeah, dude, that's all you need.
That's a good fucking tight end week. It's a very good fucking tight end week. Yeah, you're right. I mean, QB's a shit show too, right? I mean, I fucking drafted a QB higher than I ever have or normally would. Took Aaron Rodgers expecting him to be Aaron Rodgers of old, and again, worked out. I'm sure Vinny didn't drop Dak Prescott, but if you did, thanks. Since we're in this theme of giving thanks to Vinny.
I didn't drop him, but thank you. That means a lot.
You're welcome. I just want you to be happy in life.
You own both of them, Shrek, in case you forgot.
I don't know Aaron Rodgers anymore.
Well, Dak, you own them both at the same time.
I did, correct.
Yeah.
But I picked Dak up because I was like, fuck, Rodgers not so great. Obviously worked out. But again, like you said, there's that top elite kind of section. And I mean, obviously Lamar Jackson was a late draft pick and, Walsh, you were all over him and he's obviously turned out fantastic. But outside the top few guys, it's a fair argument, Walsh, to say maybe you should be paying up for some of those elite guys because it's tough. It's tough out there.
But I think quarterback, if you streamed based on matchup, has worked out pretty well too. So like, I don't know, like I mean, this may just be the way that like my teams have turned out, but like I thought this year to me said like pay up at tight end if you're confident, and at quarterback like fuck it, because like Mahomes was the first pick, and Mahomes has been good, but he's not been the Mahomes that we thought like he was going to be.
You're right.
And it's like, I mean, the number one quarterback in the league is Lamar Jackson. Russell Wilson has been like a top fantasy option this year. And like, he seems to be every year, but we never really give him that respect. But like, to me, I mean, I've been able to get through, I'm in the championship in, I think 3 leagues where I am starting Ryan Fitzpatrick this week. And I started Sam Darnold for like 5 weeks straight. Like, to me, this year has shown me that you can stream QBs even more so than past years have shown me. I don't know. I might be off on that, but maybe, I mean, it's all just my personal experience on it too.
I was on the other side of that this year where I paid up for Watson, and I never, ever do that. And actually, I consider myself lucky, like, because I think I dodged the bullet because Mahomes was coming my way and he got taken like 2 picks before me in our league.
Yep.
I pretty much played Watson like the entire year, except for like, I think 1 or 2 games down the stretch, like the last couple where he had rough matchups, but I don't know. Like, it was nice to have that luxury. Like, all right, I don't have to worry about quarterback, and he just happens to have like having a really good year and going. He's being drafted 2 right after Mahomes. He's finishing 2 right now. I kind of think I got lucky. I feel like paying up for quarterback is very risky, so I'll probably switch back to being a little bitch at the end of the draft and taking Dalton or Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I mean, one of the leagues that I made that I'm making the championship in. I drafted Mitch Trubisky as my only quarterback. So like, given the rest of the strategy working, but I think this year has really, really been like a proof of concept for waiting on quarterback for me between Lamar and then just like the way that I've been able to ride the Darnold right into Fitzpatrick for the last couple weeks.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a passing league. We're adjusting to it.
Yeah, it is. And you're right with that turnover and being able to play that matchup. And Vinny, I was in the same spot. I was pissed Mahomes went to Matt 1 pick before me. And obviously it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. But yeah, paying up is something I'll probably avoid. Like you said, I did it wrong on Aaron Rodgers. We watched Patrick Mahomes not do it. I still hate the tight end spot, but that is what it is.
The tight end spot is just it's one of the most frustrating things because even if you have one of the good ones, like the floor is just so low. It's
That's
unbelievable.
the whole thing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're riding the Cardinals stream, you probably worked out pretty well.
Except for the Eifert, and then there was one other week.
Vance
where it didn't
McDonald,
work.
when I
Vance
was
McDonald.
talking so much shit, saying that it would work.
Oh yeah, and I was saying it wouldn't work, and we're going to conveniently ignore that he got hurt in the third quarter, but it didn't work.
No, it wasn't working, and it wasn't going to. It doesn't matter. He could have got hurt in the first.
Yikes. Yeah, we talked about a lot of this, guys, but a lot of the QB situations are going to change next year too. What happens with Big Ben? Where does Cam go? What's the deal there? Drew Brees was obviously injured. We talked about Andy Dalton. So does Phillip Rivers stay with the Chargers? Lots of things to unfold, and obviously that'll change in the offseason as we get away from this here. But still plenty of football left for football and fantasy, and we'll dive into that in 2020. Which is crazy to think. It's really not that far away, guys.
No, not
14,
at all.
14 days and a new year, and we'll be over 300 episodes of Let's Talk Fantasy Football. Insanity.
Really is, man. Really, really is. Yeah, the quarterback position is going to be interesting because we've got, like some of the older classes, like this was, as a general theme, I thought this was some of those old stalwart quarterbacks like really showed their age, and like lots of them, like even like Breeze was sort of the exception, but like Rodgers, Brady, Ben,
Rivers, Eli.
Rivers, Eli, like all these guys who have been at least mildly consistent in what you can expect, we're just not. So there's a lot of uncertainty going forward.
I'm ready for it. Like I think me and Shrek talked a while back. I think it might have been halfway through, like 8th week, 9th week. And we're saying like this whole 100th season has been like not so much living in the past as like looking to the future, kind of like,
dude, yeah,
handing off the torch like to the next, like not century, but like it's over now. Like so much shit is changing in the NFL.
Yep.
I mean, the best quarterbacks in the league are Mahomes, Jackson, Watson, and Wilson.
Yeah,
that says it all right there. In terms of
that's
like
the
moving
new gang, dude.
Like, welcome to the fucking future.
The new gang is here, and they're kicking the old dudes out of the saloon.
Yeah.
Yes,
100%.
Yes, they are. And I like the little nod there, Vinny, to last year's story.
Oh man, I was actually playing Red Dead before we hopped on. So I was
were
in
you
the
really?
I was in the Wild West. I beat the game like a while ago twice, and now all I do is like I literally boot it up and I just go into town with just like a bunch of ammo and like sit in a bank and just kill people.
Okay.
But
I got like 50% of the way through, and then football season started, and I haven't played it since then. And like, I'm so excited for football season to end so I can just get back into playing Red Dead.
oh my god, you didn't. You got to finish it.
I didn't finish either. I'm super behind. I'm behind purely because I fell off. My free time has gone to football. So
Yeah.
It happens.
only so much time. Only so much time. All right, let's. You guys want to talk about some of the biggest busts of 2019? Some of the biggest disappointments we've seen from draft day, and kind of where we expected them to be.
Yeah, man.
All right, let's start at the top of the draft. I mean, you got two running backs right off the bat. Saquon Barkley has been a disappointment, right, from where he was drafted and what was expected of him. Alvin Kamara, same thing. I mean, you look at in Walsh. I'm not doing this to be a dick. We've talked about this, but if Don had not taken CMC, what your team would have been would have been undefeated, and rightfully so, across everything. I mean, I don't think there really would have been a week that you probably could have lost based on points because CMC was undisputed the guy, and Don went, I think, out of character when he went and drafted him, and obviously not how you hope the draft would have went, but minus him, the top of the draft or the top of these rankings do not look like what we drafted 16 weeks ago.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, like, CMC I thought was like obvious number one. But you could have made the argument for Saquon. Certainly Saquon, he got hurt and he had a high ankle sprain. That's an injury that takes a while to come back from. He hasn't looked the same since. I mean, it's easy to fit a narrative to things, but I think we can easily mark off Saquon's year as just he came back from a high ankle sprain after 2 weeks, which no one fucking does.
Should not.
And he just wasn't as explosive after that point. And like he had a great week this past week. I think he's going to have another one because he has another great matchup. But that's that's why I traded for him in the one league where I have McCaffrey and Barkley. I gave up Godwin, Chubb, and Deshaun Jackson for Saquon in like week 5 or so, like right after he got hurt. And I did it specifically because of the playoff schedule. But yeah, I mean, Saquon he hasn't been the player that he was before, but like given a full off season, I think he will be again.
Yeah.
Kamara, I don't know whether this is like injury or whether like it's the fact that like for the first 2 years of his career, he was scoring touchdowns at like the most insane rate that anyone's ever seen. And then this year he hasn't had a touchdown since week 3. And it's just all of that regression coming back to him. I don't know. Vin, do you have an opinion on those guys?
Yeah, I was about to say, like, right now, Alvin Kamara is still running back 11. And if he scores like 5
Is he
touchdowns,
really?
Yeah. So if he scores 5 more touchdowns, we're not even fucking talking about this. And I think he's going to be one of those guys that people are like, fuck Kamara, never again. Like, the dude's still a top 5 running back, I think. And I feel like he's going to go later in the first round, early second, and people are going to forget that he just got smacked with touchdown regression, and it could easily flip back the other way. So that's going to be important to remember for next year. Obviously, things can still shake up in the offseason, but Kamara should not be a forgotten back.
He's another guy who I think his injury midway through the season might still be affecting him because he doesn't look as explosive, which is like, again, easy to say as like an excuse for like touchdown regression or whatever. But I think it might be both those things hitting him at the same time. And then, yeah, you're right. Like next year, Kamara might be like the best value in the draft based on this season.
Yeah, he's still had 73 receptions right now. Like that's
73.
Yeah. Like what the fuck are we even talking? Like he's probably not on a lot of championship teams just because he didn't score those touchdowns, but he never killed you. Maybe like 1 or 2 weeks, but that's everybody. So there's really not much I'm seeing from a complaining standpoint that like is very concrete for Kamara. Like I don't think he's fallen off, still explosive, but you're right, Walsh. Maybe the nagging injuries limiting, Sean Payton's willingness to get him involved in the game plan too much.
The one thing that's like kind of like I'm looking at there is like the 2 weeks that he was out and it was just Latavius. Like Latavius was like the best running back in the league for those 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's like what has Kamara been doing? But it could be luck in there. It could be injury related. It could just be touchdown regression related. I think it's a combination of all those things.
I mean, just from memory too, one of those Latavius games was against the Cardinals. So I don't remember what the other one was, but that explains a lot already.
Right.
Another running back, guys, I thought super disappointing, and I obviously owned him. Le'Veon Bell, from where the expectations I think were, and I paid a good price for him, but I think he went in the first round of most drafts. A bit of a disappointing year. I mean, he sits at running back 16, which is down from where he was, or from where we expected him to be. I mean, obviously so was Alvin Kamara, but a bit of a letdown out of that first round.
Yeah, I mean, the workload's been good too. Like it's not like that's been an issue. And I think we can tie all this back to one factor.
Adam Gase.
Dude, Ryan Tannehill leaves Miami, becomes like awesome immediately. Fucking Kenyon Drake leaves Miami, becomes awesome immediately. Devontae Parker gets rid of Adam Gase, gets a $40 million extension. Like, Adam Gase needs to get fired out of a cannon into the sun to never be heard from again, I think is the lesson that we've learned from this year, if nothing else.
Amen.
Yeah. We've gone over that time and time again, man. That dude sucks.
Yeah. Yep. He fucking blew it.
Do we have any confidence that the Jets are going to get rid of him, or do you think Bell will be somewhere else? Because Gase never wanted to sign him in the beginning.
They've already started circulating trade rumors, but who is going to take that contract?
Yeah, that's the
I forget who pointed it out, but it was really only the Jets that were going after him. I'm sure a team that has enough cap room or whatever will definitely take on Le'Veon Bell, but it's going to have to be the perfect storm of all that happening because it's going to be hard to move him with that contract.
If the Raiders hadn't drafted Josh Jacobs, there would be a 100% chance that we would have Le'Veon Bell next year.
That is a very good point because
Like Gruden would just
Gruden
be
would
like, I like that guy. I like the way he waits behind the line. I like the way he cuts upfield. You know,
here's a blank piece of paper. Write down how many picks you want on it,
yeah.
and I'll fucking send them over.
Yeah, seriously.
Holy shit. Who else do you guys have this year that's been a big letdown for you personally, or just looking at draft boards that was a big disappointment?
So I think Brandon Cooks, in terms of like wide receivers, was one of the biggest where like one, he was the top Rams wide receiver going off the board, and like as he should have been, but like they just really chose not to involve him this year after giving him a gigantic ass contract for some reason. Really, really bizarre shit. And like really, really just, I don't understand it at all. But can we talk about the Rams as a whole for a year? Cause I feel like they've been like one of the weirdest teams this year where like for the first several weeks, Cooper Kupp was a world beater. And then all of a sudden he was not involved. And then like, you know, Robert Woods got like 20 targets a game for like a 3-week stretch. And then he was not involved. And Gerald Everett at times was getting 15 targets a game. And Tyler Higbee at times was getting 15 targets a game. Like, what the fuck is going on in Los Angeles with this team? And like, what can we try and like even extrapolate out of this season from them? Other than like Todd Gurley having a pretty secure role, I guess.
I don't know. This is coming from a dude that owns Robert Woods and Todd Gurley in many leagues. I have watched so much Ram stuff, and I could not tell you week to week. I'm just like, these guys are in my lineup. If they do good, awesome. I had no idea going in, like, what kind of week it was going to be.
There was a point like a couple weeks into the season where I think I made an argument to you, Vin, that like you shouldn't be playing Robert Woods at all. And like, you were just like, yeah, that makes sense, you know?
But what did I say? I'm like, he's a dude that gets 7 to 12 points. I'm not benching him.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he did. And he scored 20 a few of those weeks. It was, I don't know, a roller coaster. And the Todd Gurley roller coaster kind of slowed down like after the first couple weeks. And
it
got way back on track. But
that's surprising to me too, because like, why are they using him as much as they do? Like, why did he have a touchdown in garbage time this week? The guy's got arthritis in his knee, and you're down by 30 points, and you're just like running him. It's like,
see, that's you can't explain that. That makes no sense. Like the other stuff, like we're saving him for the playoff push. Like that worked. That narrative fit, and they really did use him for that playoff push. And then they're still in the hunt, I guess. But like once you get blown up by the Cowboys and you're still feeding him, you're not making any sense. Is this dude hurt? Is he? What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, I don't know how to explain the Rams this year at all. I have zero explanation.
I also feel very bad for the Brandon Cooks owners, the people that drafted him, because they were all drafted in the same round. And if you picked one of the other two, you were fine.
Oh,
if you picked Cooks, you were fucking shot.
Yep.
Yeah, you got fucking boned. I own Brandon Cooks at a couple other places but ours. And I was holding that bag.
Lucky duck.
Unlucky duck. But it is what it is. Vin, who jumps off the page for you here as a major disappointment and letdown here?
This is, I mean, we could talk about both of them, but it's really a product of what happened to Big Ben early, like Juju and Connor. Like also they all had their own injuries, but
sure,
like we had, sky high expectations for both of them. Like Juju was absorbing like Antonio Brown's target share and all that. Connor, lion's share of the carries, and just both couldn't stay healthy, and both were guys that we were expecting huge things. Like, I remember early on, me and Walsh were arguing about like the back end of the first, and he's like, if I can get Juju and Odell Beckham, I'm fucking jerking it. Look at where that is now.
How far we from?
The one league where I didn't make the playoffs,
Did you do that turn?
No, I did Devontae and Juju. And he was just like, all right, well, there you go.
My season's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just one of the ones that jumped out too. And then I guess if we're talking about that, we can address the ex-Steeler whole situation with AB, which was just kind of ridiculous. Talk about roller coaster. That one was just insane, and I think still running.
Yeah, 100%. But another guy that you just mentioned was Beckham. Like,
oh my God,
dude,
he killed you all year.
Yeah,
Also,
the entire year.
A stat I saw today. He scored. Remember that Jets touchdown in the Jets game where he had like the long 80-yard pass for a touchdown?
Yes.
Mhm.
That was 15% of his fantasy points this entire season.
15%.
15%.
He has been over 13 fantasy points in half-point PPR twice.
Twice.
Well,
Twice.
3 if you want to count 13 as counting, but we'll call it twice.
We'll do
Still-
gambling style. 13 and a half, Shrek.
Sure. 13 and a half.
I'll take the under.
Jeez, man, that's tough. I mean, like, it's one of those things again, like, I mean, I said it proudly in the offseason. I was like, I think the Cleveland Browns will be a Super Bowl contender. And like, fuck, dude, like that was wrong, you know? It's just seemed like, I mean, and to their credit, I mean, Nick Chubb had a great season.
He did.
You know,
The
Jarvis Landry has managed to have a great season for them.
Yep. Kareem Hunt's look good.
Kareem Hunt's been good,
Mhm.
but like Odell just has never put it all together. And I mean, there's supposedly this stuff coming out where he has a sports hernia and he was told that he would be fine. Like, I don't know. I don't really know how all that works, but
The whole like come get me stuff, the weird stuff on the sidelines, the Browns culture right now. It's just like there's too many things to even make me want to have faith in him for next year. Like sure he could be playing hurt, sure he could one off the team. Like maybe I'm just going to stay away from that whole situation.
I'll avoid it. I owned him in one or two places, and it's been a fucking nightmare because I've rolled him for so long because it's fucking Odell. And I mean, dude, even this week he scored 10.6 fantasy points in half-point PPR, 13 targets, 8 catches for 66 yards. What?
So
Yeah.
bad. It's so bad.
dude, Vin, that league that I lost to you in the playoffs in this past week, you know who
Yeah.
my first 2 draft picks were in that? And I was so pumped on it when it came to me.
I truly don't remember.
David Johnson and Odell Beckham.
Wow.
How did I still make the goddamn semifinals in that league?
And
But,
you put up like 140 something against me too. Like
yeah, man, I finished number 1 in that league after drafting those 2 fuckers first 2 rounds.
It is 12 teams, so weird shit. But I actually have no idea how you pulled that off. So props to you.
I don't either. I have no idea.
What did I do? Did you make a trade?
No,
Wow.
I didn't do anything crazy in terms of trades there. But
My God.
yeah, I mean, David Johnson is another guy that we can talk
Yeah.
about who just kind of lost his role, like after getting hurt, and like when he came back, he looked terrible. Like, I don't know what they do with that contract. I don't know what they do with him. I don't know what they do with any of that situation. But like,
That's just a shit show.
Kenyon Drake looks really good. Like the last
he really does.
outside of the blow up week, like you can set that aside, he still performed pretty well for a team that's like not too great.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing looking at going forward because they paid David Johnson a lot of money, and it's obviously not worth it. But like, who's going to take on that contract at this point? You know,
The same Le'Veon Bell conversation.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
basically is.
yeah. Where do you go with that contract? Where do you go?
Also, Cardinals are double fucked because they have the David Johnson contract, and then they also have Kenyon Drake as a free agent. So they spent draft capital to get him on the team for a half season, and they're going to have to pay him if they want to keep him.
True.
Yeah.
Very true. All right, let's talk flip side, guys. Some of the biggest values, and I think the most obvious one here, Lamar Jackson. I mean, Walsh, you had him everywhere. You were all over him. QB1, absolutely incredible for what cost you pretty much pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, Lamar's a stud. He's incredible. I would be cautious against drafting him too early next year because they will have a year of film on him and Greg Roman's offense. But for anyone who drafted him this year, it's worked out great for you. He's also probably the most exciting player to watch in the league. Like he's so much fun to watch. He's just a joy to root for.
100%.
And very, very happy that he exists. Guys, I know I'm going off script here. I really need to take a piss. You guys talk while I do that, and I'll be back in just a second.
That's a self sign off. I like that.
Let's talk fantasy football. Vinny, who jumps off the page for you as one of the biggest values? Whether you drafted them or just somebody else in general.
I mean, we talked about tight end before, but like, how much it sucks, but to give props to them, Waller and Hooper.
Yeah.
That was some really good, like they're like speaking from the waiver wire as a whole. I think it was kind of shot this year. Like there was really no league winner, a weak saver, like
which is crazy because usually there's something.
Yeah, especially early on. Really, the only guy I can think of right now off the cuff is Waller and Hooper, if like he wasn't drafted. So it was tight end saviors, and that was probably it as far as wide receiver gems. Oh, sorry, free agent pickup gems. But yeah, props to those dudes. They had a hell of a season.
I think you could. Dak Prescott comes off the waiver wire in places. He's QB4 right now by literally less than 1 point behind Russell Wilson in our league. Jameis Winston, number 5. Josh Allen at number 6. Just a lot. Again, we talked about the depth of QB and how you can stream and everything else, but guys, you could just go get off the wire. And as we talked about earlier, it just shows the depth of the position and how that's going to impact our strategy going into next year.
Yeah, also shows hop on it early too, because like you said before, you had Aaron Rodgers and you didn't let the name value drag you down. You picked up Dak, despite Aaron Rodgers' slow start. You're not like sitting there dying, so you're like, I got to make some fucking moves early. You got
to keep moving. It's the same shit with David Johnson owners or people that you drafted him early. It became a do or die, right? Like, do you hold on to him because you spent a first round pick, or if you don't believe, do you start unloading? And plenty of people hold on because of what they paid and what they spent. And odds are most David Johnson owners are not in the playoffs or championships this week.
Also, that's a thing you feel after years of playing fantasy.
Of course.
This is not working. I'm going to, kind of cut ties here. So it's something you got to get a feel for, and obviously could blow up in your face, but, it's more often than not. You're lucky that you kind of bailed on it.
Yep, 100%. I think the other guy, we touched on him before, so I won't waste a ton of time, is Austin Eckler. Again, whatever he's running back 4, 5, 6, whatever it was.
Ooh, my bad.
All good. What is arguably was a mid-round pick on what you spent on him, and even with Melvin Gordon back, you're fucking psyched.
My coaster got stuck to my drink. Does that happen to you guys?
Oh yeah, all the time. Sorry, I'm back.
That was that loud fucking noise. My bad.
The price you pay for being hydrated.
Yeah, I mean, Eckler, dude, like, I thought he was like a worthy draft pick for where he was going, just to get you like those first couple of weeks of like, goodness. And then you like see where you can go from there. Obviously no one was really going to buy him like at that point, but he's turned out for it to not matter. And like we said before, just he's potentially a first round pick next year if they get rid of Melvin Gordon, which you would assume they're going to.
Yeah, you got to think for what he's going to want. He held out expecting big money, didn't get it. It's not going to get it, at least not from the Chargers. And we'll see if he can hold on to the football this week here against the Raiders. Walsh, who's one guy that came, to you as one of the biggest values of the draft, whether you owned him or not?
Did we talk about the 2 wide receivers at the top of our list here?
We did not.
All right, so these are 2 guys who – I'm going to take the victory lap here. I had these 2 guys as 2 of the guys that you needed to draft in the last couple rounds of your draft. The other 2 guys were Jamison Crowder and Brashad Perryman. Brashad Perryman, I didn't say you needed to, but these 2 guys were DJ Shark and John Brown. Like, they were both late-round draft picks. They were 10th round or after. DJ Shark you could literally take in the last round. DJ Shark turned out to be a wide receiver 1 this year. He is really, really good, really talented. And I think going forward, he's a guy like you can count on in fantasy. John Brown is just a stud. John Brown is not just a deep threat anymore. He's an absolute number 1 wide receiver. I mean, I know it's a bad week coming up this week against the Patriots. Hopefully you don't have to play him. But even though it was a bad week this past week, he got it done against Pittsburgh. So those were like maybe my 2 biggest wins in terms of just like recommendations this year.
The Chark one was so impressive. I remember you said something like kind of offhand when you were talking about when we were first doing I think we might have been previewing the AFC South, and just like DJ Chark is good. And I'm just like, shut the fuck up. Lo and behold, the dude blows up and is awesome.
I'm making like a lot of money on best ball leagues because of DJ Shark, because I took him in the last round of every single one of them.
Damn.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, you invest in your guys, and obviously it is working out for you nicely. Outstanding.
Vinny, I feel like you love John Brown going into the year too.
I did, and I had to trade for him in our league. In every other league, I pretty much drafted him, but got sniped in our main league of record. But yeah, dude, John Brown, the dude's got, like we talked about this every week, like he has the potential to blow up like 30-plus points and has not done that, and it's more impressive.
Yeah,
He's become a full wide receiver.
The weird thing is that this year Josh Allen has had a very low completion rate on deep passes, which we thought that was one of his strengths going forward into this year. And despite that, John Brown has still been a number one wide receiver.
Yeah, it's given me more of a vote of confidence, and like next year I'm very much looking forward to what they can improve on too. The only thing is, which we've talked about before, they play in Buffalo a lot, and the wind is usually a factor there. And that's the one thing you got to think about, which is just one of those things that you kind of put aside, but it's also,
good to know,
a little bit of a problem.
Wait, the Bills play in Buffalo.
That's true.
All right, fair
and
enough.
It's windy there.
It can get windy there. No, that's definitely fair. That's one thing, like when I was drafting and that sort of thing, I probably should have been paying more attention to like Buffalo weather plus weird late season schedule with the Bills. But at the same time, like I think it's worked out well enough that I don't know if you need to prioritize that when thinking about Bills.
That's fair. I mean, my example would be I traded for him mid-season when he had that good stretch where it was like Philly, Redskins, and I forget another plus matchup as well. And John Brown really just kind of had like somewhere in the teens, like didn't really blow up. And it's because the weather was fucking insane.
That Dolphins game was where he blew up. That was John Brown week, dude.
Well, that was in Miami, baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sign me up for that shit.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, guys, you have anything else on the year for the people?
I feel like we've covered an awful lot of it. I mean, I'm sure there were other values that we could think of if we really put our minds to it, but
we could drone on for hours if you want to dig for values, won't you?
Yeah, that's definitely true. This has been a lot of fun. Yeah, if you're still in the championship, by all means, good luck. Ask us questions and shit, and we'll try and answer them. Yeah, that's all I got.
Ben?
Yeah, good luck to everybody. I do have more values written down, but it's cool. We can close it out, Shrek, if you want to.
Yeah, no, go for it. I don't care. I'm asking. Give me what you got.
All right. I was just going to make a point that like the third round, fourth round running backs performed almost as good or better than the first round guys, like Chris Carson, Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones, Eckler.
Yeah. I mean, that's the top of that list, really, for the most part, that we ran through before, which you're right, considering what you paid was a nice ROI. Chris Carson has had his ups and downs, but at least for me, but very happy.
He's done his best to try and lose that job, but God damn it if Pete Carroll doesn't want to slap that tag on him.
You ain't kidding. And I don't like Pete Carroll, but God bless him.
He doesn't give up on people unless you're anyone else.
Except Chris Carson.
It's funny because CJ Prosise like had one fumble this past week and they immediately benched him for Travis Homer. But it's like they just haven't benched Chris Carson the entire year for any of that.
Oh, no, it's Pete Carroll defying himself. But and two wide receivers that we didn't mention, Sutton and A.J. Brown. Those dudes will be huge, huge names next year as well. And they've done really, really well.
Yeah, we'll see how the Drew Lock experiment works out. I'm not entirely sure how it will, but like he seems like he's at least got promise based on the past couple of weeks. And like between him, Cortland Sutton, and Noah Fant going forward, like that could be a very dangerous trio with Sutton as the head of that in terms of like fantasy production. And then I'm sorry, who's the other one that you said?
A.J. Brown?
Oh, yeah, dude. I mean, that guy's just – I was yelling about him if he was on the fucking Eagles before. Like, that guy's incredible. And just in terms of this year, this past week he had 13 targets. Almost every other week of the season he's had somewhere between 4 and 7. So if he continues to get huge targets going forward, that guy's an absolute stud.
Yeah, and also his former teammate, DK Metcalf, who we didn't mention too. He's another young wide receiver that's been pretty good.
Yeah, he had a very, very solidly consistent year. Dropped a lot of big plays, but we'll see what happens going forward.
Yeah, in time should have a brighter future ahead, especially with Russell Wilson at the helm.
Shrek, I tried to sign off way too early. I'm a fucking dumbass, dude.
No, dude, you're good. I wanted to throw out and see what else you guys had. You know, Vinny, I wasn't trying to.
Vinny had a bunch, dude.
Vinny, you're putting in work, man. You're always dedicated to the cause, and I appreciate that.
Well, I mean, I'm the hardest working guy that you know.
Right. And I know a lot of people. I got at least 5. So
I mean, I know you guys. I know my roommate Corey. I think that's like all the people I know, and you guys are at least 2 of the top 3 hardest working. So
I was gonna say, I think I'm a first rounder in that category.
Easily. I mean, Don, we love you, but you're in Cabo. You're in Vegas. I mean, you just seem to be traveling, dude.
Don's a flex and he knows it.
Don's been working for the man like nonstop for the past like 7 years or so, and now he takes like 2 vacations like within the same 2-month period, and we're all just like giving him a bunch of shit for it.
We wouldn't want it any other way. We wouldn't want it any other way, Walsh. Vinny, do you have anything else on that list of yours?
No, but thanks for consulting me. No, I just, while we were talking, I was just writing down some shit, and I'm just like, oh yeah, these fellas. But yeah, no, I'm good now. Props to everybody that made the championship. Godspeed. Follow your heart. Follow your gut. Stats are lies. And play your good players.
Patrick Laird is a lie.
Patrick Laird is a bum, and you should never play a bum.
Walsh, is there anything you want to say to Vinny before we wrap things up?
Say sorry.
No.
All
I'm
right.
Good.
A man who stands his ground. Guys, good luck in championship week. If you're in consolation brackets, go out there, make it happen. That should impact your draft spot next year. And I don't know, you may have money on the line, depends on your league. But go out there, make it happen. Good luck. Send in your questions. It has been an honor to get through 300 episodes with you guys here, Walshy and Vinny. And shout out as well to Don and Rogers, we know is out there slaving for the man as we speak. Guys, thank you. Thanks for everything. It's we got a lot more episodes to go, but 300 is an impressive feat. Very impressive feat.
I want 600 by next year.
All right, man. That's at least an episode a day. Walsh, you think we could do that?
Yeah, no problem.
All right. You heard it here first, guys. Walsh is in. He'll be leading the charge solo as he usually does because we are all pieces of garbage. And with that, we are Let's Talk Fantasy Football, guys. I am Nick Schreck. He is Nick Walsh. And, of course, Vinny Gonzalez. We will catch you on the flip side.
This has been Let's Talk Fantasy Football. Thanks for listening.